Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Abby. I'm with Fitness is Medicine. Today we're going to do another great workout you can do in your home. What we're going to use today for our tools is a tube that we're going to put up high for some lat pull downs, a set of dumbbells, and then you can either use one of those tubes or a different band. We're going to do some reverse flies, and then a fitball if you have one. And I think that's all you're going to need. So make sure you come into this workout with a good warm-up under your belt. So if you need to, you can press pause, go get the tools that you need, do your warm-up, and then come back ready to work. Okay, so we're gonna start on the floor here for your lat pull down. I like to be able to pull down from a higher position, and sometimes it's really hard to get in your home if you're not sitting on the floor. If you do have really high ceilings or high doors or a high place to loop around, the other thing you can do is sit on a ball. It's a really great way to do this exercise. I don't have those options. So I'm looping mine through the door and then sitting down. So notice that I also have my bands doubled up here. So if you don't have a band or a tube that's quite strong enough, you can double up on your bands, and you can also go more slowly. So sit up nice and tall, keep your ears down away from keep your shoulders down away from your ears. We're gonna pull the band straight towards your armpits, squeeze those shoulder blades down and together as you pull. We're going to go ahead and do 10 of these. Think about moving those shoulder blades. Envision squeezing them together, moving them together and down on your back. The more you envision using muscles to create certain motions, the more muscle fibers you'll actually recruit for that mind-body connection. So really focus on your exercise. Remember to breathe, never hold your breath. And I think that's at least 10. All right, nice and slowly, both directions. Okay, now we're gonna stand up and get a more full body exercise going here. I wanna do a squat kick. So if you think you're gonna have a hard time with that doing this, you can also do a seated kick. So you can sit down. I'm having a tough time getting my camera angle right here this morning. You can sit down on a bench and kick and do the same motion without such a huge full body motion, especially if you do have knee pain. But I want to get a good squat. So remember, when you squat down, you want to sit back. You want to kind of get your weight in your heels. Sit your hips back like you're going to sit down into a chair, and then we're going to come up with a kick. So squat, kick. So we're going to do 10 on each side, so it's going to end up being 20 kicks. When I squat down, I usually put my hands forward as a counterbalance. If you do need upper extremity assistance with this, so if you need to do it next to a counter, do it with your counter here. So you can squat down, kick, squat, kick. And you can decide how high you want to kick here. This is also incorporating some balance. So if you want to squat and kick down here, that's great. Make that work for you. Don't overdo it. Remember, if you need to start with a seated kick, that's a great place to start. I think this is 9, 10, and 10. All right, good. That's a good one. It gets your heart rate going. Okay, now we're going to grab those dumbbells. We're going to do bicep curl into shoulder press. So before you grab them, make sure that you're going to have a weight that is appropriate for that. And also, if you know that you have shoulder pain, let's just do the bicep. And you can skip the shoulder press, or you can try it in a range of motion right here and versus out here. So remember, when you pick up those weights, bend your knees, engage your core. I'm going to do this with a little bit of a tandem stance. If that is too much, you can stagger it out to the side. If that's too much, give yourself a good strong base of support. Okay, so bicep, shoulder press. Nice and slowly, both directions. It's really tempting to want to drop those weights quickly, let gravity take over. but you really want to have your muscles control that work, make them work both directions. This is 5. Keep breathing. 6. Nice and slowly on that way down. 7. 8. If you find yourself starting to substitute and going like this, you probably have a little bit too heavy of weight. So you want to make sure that you're staying nice and still, not letting your back take over. You want your arms doing all of this work. All right, and that was 10. Nice and slowly on the way down. If you find yourself either doing that on the bicep or to push it up overhead, you're kind of, take the weight down. And then if you feel like maybe it's not quite enough, depending on what you have for weights at home, do it more slowly and maybe do a few more repetitions. Okay, now we're going to move into a balance. So we're going to do a starfish hold. So we've done this in the past. You're going to stand on one foot. Remember to do this next to a counter, your sink, something sturdy where if you need to grab and hold on. What you want to do is think about taking your body off center. So you want to lean over to one side. So you're really stabilizing in this standing hip. Nice deep breath, keeping your shoulders back. If you find yourself doing a lot of this, use that counter to kind of keep you back so that you're in a nice straight line. And then the further you can take your torso off balance, off to the side, the more your body's working. So your obliques are working here. This is working. I'm pulling this out. Keep breathing. Okay, now slowly return. Now, try to work on each side for about 30 seconds. So if you can't quite hold it for 30 seconds, that's okay. Start here. And if that feels really challenging, hold it here. Don't go any further. You can decide how far you take yourself off center here. The further you take yourself off center, obviously the harder it is. So you can start here by just kind of lightly lifting up your toe and then slowly get into it. Remember, do this somewhere where you can hang on to if your balance is really challenged with this one. This is a difficult one. Keep those shoulders back. Keep breathing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. So like I said, work on each side for about 30 seconds. If you can't hold it for 30 seconds, that's okay. Just continue to work on it for about 30 seconds. Unless, of course, you're having any hip pain, then just move straight and hold that tandem stance. That's another good way to challenge that balance without putting too much stress on your joints. Okay, now we're going to grab our fitball and do some abs, do some core. So we're going to sit on the ball. If you don't have a ball, you can do this on a chair. You can even do it on the floor, but it works really great on a sturdy chair, like a kitchen chair. If you do have a ball and you find that you're a little bit unsteady on it, do it next to something where you can hang on, either a bed or, you know, that sturdy kitchen chair, or you can do it in your kitchen so you have that counter to hang on to. I want you to walk forward just a little bit. I'm going to move over here so you can see me a little better. Walk forward to the edge of the ball so my low back is just on the edge here on the top. We're going to start with your hands on your thighs. So put your hands on your knees. We're going to lean back and just kind of run your hands along your thighs to begin with. So you want to keep your torso nice and tall. When you go back, you don't want to slump like this. And conversely, you don't want to arch back. So you want to think about keeping that back nice and flat. Now, if that feels okay, put your hands up here on your shoulders. And then the other key, I usually kind of dig my heels into the ground. If you are somewhere where you're slipping and you can't do this, put your feet against the wall, and then you'll be a little more stable. You'll have a lot more stability. But lean back, and then don't quite come all the way up. So I'm going to come up to just about 90%, maybe 85. So we're going to lean back, And what that does is it keeps your abs engaged. If you come all the way up, they get to relax for a second. And if you need to have that break, come up, then try 2 or 3 without coming all the way up. Really challenge yourself to strengthen that core. With the core, it can be really hard to keep breathing. So really force that air, because that's going to continue to help bring oxygen to those working muscles and get rid of that carbon dioxide. But it can be really hard to keep breathing throughout your abdominal exercises, so keep that air moving. So with these, you may find that it's not very challenging, so do a few more. Do 15, do 20. Do it until you're really feeling the burn in that core. If you do 5 and you're feeling the burn, great. Give yourself a little break, try 5 more. Okay, the last one we're going to do is a reverse fly with a band. So you can do it with the band that you were using for your lat pull down, or you can, use another one. I've got just a band versus a tube here. So I want you to always challenge your base of support a little bit. So I'm going to have you do it in a tandem stance if you can. If you can't get that tandem, do a little bit of a staggered stance. So arms straight out in front, grab that band just below your shoulders. You don't want to be way up here, just below your shoulders. And then we're going to squeeze back. You want to squeeze those shoulder blades, just like on that first exercise we did. Working on your back, working on your posture. This is a really good shoulder stabilization and postural exercise. Keep your shoulders down away from your ears. Breathe. Stand nice and tall. Keep that chin tucked. If you're having any shoulder pain, you can bring that down here and do the same thing. Just squeezing those shoulder blades back as you pull that band. Just right out to the side. You don't need to pull it past your chest. Sometimes people want to pull it way back here. That's not necessary. Just right here, remembering to think about squeezing those shoulder blades. So your shoulder blades sit like this on your back. You want to think about squeezing them towards each other. Pinching a pencil if you can envision that. Nice and slowly, both directions. And we're going to do 10. You can try 15 or 20 depending on the strength of your band. If you find that your band isn't very strong, you can double it up and then squeeze from there. Mine's not quite long enough for that. And then the other thing you can do is hold it closer to make it a little bit stronger, or hold it further away if it's really challenged, a really challenging band. Okay, now you can press pause, maybe go to 5 more minutes of cardio, come back, do it all the way through again. Try to do the exercises 2 to 3 times through total. You can do them 4 times through, it's not going to be a problem. But keep moving, everybody, keep challenging yourself, and remember to contact me if you need any substitutions or if you have any questions. All right, thanks everybody.